herzlich willkommen, verehrte Zuschauer. Alle paar Jahre kommt es vor, dass ein Videospiel zu einem Film rauskommt. Früher war das ja gang und gäbe, mittlerweile ist es eher eine Rarität. Und heute ist es mal wieder der Fall, denn gestern kam ja das Lego Movie raus, beziehungsweise der zweite Teil kam raus. Und deswegen habe ich jetzt den Chris hier bei mir sitzen, der arbeitet nämlich bei TT Games. Und das sind die Entwickler der Lego Videospiele. Und der hat mir was mitgebracht, und zwar Lego Movie 2, das Videospiel. Chris, thanks for being our guest here, really appreciate it. You brought us Lego Movie 2, the video game.
Yeah.
And so the very first and most important question of the day is everything awesome?
Everything is not quite as awesome as it used to be.
How come?
So the game takes place a few years after the ending of the original Lego movie,
Okay.
Where the city of Bricksburg has been completely destroyed.
Jeez.
And they are left with Apocalypseburg, or Apocalypsstadt in German.
That sounds quite grim, but we're talking about a Lego game. I'm sure it's not grim all the way.
No, it's not. So one of the overriding themes is that lots of the players, lots of the characters in the movie have sort of grown up and toughened up as the times have gotten quite dark and grim, whereas Emmett has not changed at all.
Why would he?
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So he hasn't changed at all, meaning that the events that have unfolded have left him completely the same, whereas everyone else is quite broody and moody, have like these huge armour pieces on. It's just Emmett
Sort
walking
of
down
like Mad Max style?
Kind of, yeah. So meanwhile, it's just Emmett kind of normally walking down the street, being quite happy and cheerful as always. So
and to him, everything is awesome.
To him, everything is still very much awesome. So he's completely sort of unmoved by all the changes that are going on in his life, and he's trying to sort of rebuild everything as if it was completely fine and that. But obviously things aren't fine. So we're just going to go through an early loading scene, and then we'll see some clips.
So, of course, since this is the video game to the movie, it follows basically the same storyline as the movie does?
Yes, it does. We follow the Lego Movie 2 story very, very closely. There are a few points where we have to diverge just for the sake of better game flow. But generally speaking, most of it takes place very strictly on the lines of what happens within Lego Movie 2.
Okay, wonderful.
So this sort of gives you a bit overview of what happened at the end of Lego Movie 1.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So obviously at the end of the first movie, they have the younger daughter is introduced.
Yeah.
So the idea is that some of these younger toys are her sort of personification. But obviously because it's been 5 years since that's passed, even though these things still exist, further into the movie you see some more unique models and shapes that she's created as well. She doesn't necessarily strictly use just characters, she uses like brick compositions to make characters, such as the Queen, who's one of the main characters from the movie too. So it's really interesting how she's a different creative approach to all this universe that has been built in front of them.
So, and this is what we see here is the remains of Bricksburg?
Yep, so this is Apocalypseburg. So we have the remains of the Statue of Liberty there. So
nice throwback to Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, fun fact, that is exactly the same model that's being used in the movie.
Oh,
so we've shared assets between ourselves and Animal Logic.
No way.
So because they build it in exactly the same way that we do, we were able to share some assets. So we've actually used the exact same models that they've used as well, which has been really handy for us. So we've managed to use things like the cave and everything that they've used as well. So it's been really good. So first thing obviously you might notice is all levels in the Lego Movie 2 video game are fully 3D environments. We don't use any sort of point A to point B sort of 2D style levels that we normally do in our action adventure games. And obviously everything is made out of Lego bricks. So we've used the Lego World's terrain generation system to help us sculpt out. So we sculpted out levels as normal, and then we've layered it with the Lego World sort of terrain generation system. So everything has that 100% Lego vibe. Because obviously it fits in with the movie style. Everything is brick based. So we've kind of used that system to sort of progress further. I don't have anything unlocked at the moment, so we're going to talk to Unikitty. And she's going to introduce us to this concept of some stuff called key builds that we use. The key builds are several items that basically you use throughout the entirety of the game to solve the puzzles and some of the things that get in the way to stop you from progressing through the level. And we're introduced quite early to 2 different types of currency. So one of them is the standard studs, the things that you see on the floor as normal in a Lego game, so these guys down here. And then also we're introducing this side currency of bricks, and these are the bricks that you need to use to make the key builds. So I need a set amount of orange, blue and red bricks to make our first key build. So I'm going to grab some of those. So it's kind of like a resource system rather than a currency.
It's handy that those colourful tiles are out and about here.
Out and about, yep. So the whole town, the whole place is built with full of them, so we can go back. And another thing we do is we only have one speaking character. We have one narrator, which is Lucy, Wildtalong.
Okay.
And we've gone back to sort of a more traditional Lego game style of sort of the mumbling and the gibberish. Okay. So you'll hear that some of the characters sort of go blah, 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 blah.
All right, we've got the instructions to build.
And a micromanager.
And the micromanager.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the instructions build on our menu at the bottom.
Yeah.
And the first thing we have unlocked is the micromanager. So let's throw it down. So the micromanager can destroy craggled Lego, so glued Lego. Ah. So in front of us here, we've got a door that's being pounded on that we're going to try and help free up the character inside.
So basically, the little microbot is doing that.
Yep. So he takes care of any super glued Lego.
Ah, okay.
So there we go. So Lucy breaks out. And we've now unlocked Lucy as a character. But we also get a interesting side story taking place as well.
Oh, it's Batman.
So we're going to go and talk to Batman now. So what we've done is we've now unlocked Lucy as a playable character. I'm going to go back and pick my bricks back up because I want those for later.
And can you switch at any time now?
I can now. So any character I've unlocked at any time you can do so. So that does kind of break a little bit from the tradition of the story because if you've unlocked like a side character, you can potentially play the story as them. Yeah. But what we've done this time around is whereas in say something like our Marvel titles or our DC titles, all the characters have unique abilities. The abilities are tied to the items this time so that you can play as any character with any item. And that's quite important actually further down the line because we'll show you later a new type of character that's in the game where that really is quite important that they're fully compatible. So I've actually skipped a step there by switching to Lucy, but if I'd walked up to Batman as Emmett, he would have gone, hey, I need to talk to Lucy. So he encourages you to switch to Lucy, so that, and then he instantly recognises her to give her the special goggles that we have. So,
you know, the Lego games are always known for also being able to be played in co-op. Will I be able to play this game in co-op as well?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. In fact, we have some little moments during the game that are quite funny, that are almost specifically designed for a bit of humour with co-op. So there is a moment later on in this level where we're fighting a spaceship and we get a giant turret, but then there's a really tiny one appears next to it as well. So you've got to race to get the big turret if you want to be involved with that one. So I've just used the goggles that we unlocked to scan items, so you can now run around and start scanning objects that are in the wild using these goggles. So if I just pull them out, so you see there's like a green highlight around it. That means it's a scannable object, which then goes into your collection. So you can place those down in the sandbox environment later. So we'll get to that later on. Meanwhile, I've just scanned and unlocked a trampoline. So I'm going to go and try and place it down, but I can see I don't have enough bricks for it. So I need pink and black ones. I need 2 of each.
So basically, when you scan an object, you get the building instructions for that said object, and then you can build it if you have the bricks.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to put that one down now. I need this trampoline, so I'm going to do that first. Batman's going to say, well done. And then we're going to try and navigate around this path up to this guy here. And then we'll be able to see a bit more of what we're doing. So this just basically introduces you to the idea of the bounce pad. So the bounce pad is something that any character can use. We can get up higher. Let's get some more bricks because I'm going to want some later on. And we'll place one down here. And what we've done is we've put like little markers on the floor for where you need to get to the next area. So but it doesn't mean you can't place them anywhere else. Because I could just place one here as well. And if I wanted to, I could then just hop on up and start trying to progress around the rest of the statue. So let's get up here though. And I'm about to collect an item. Which is one of these pieces here. Where in traditional Lego games we have gold bricks when you complete levels, we're using these masterpieces this time around. They're quite relevant to the story. Further on you go, you realise the masterpieces mean something. So we're using them as an in-game sort of collectible to sort of indicate progression through the story. So just a similar idea of what we normally do, but just using something slightly different. So we're going to go down to Metalbeard, who is going to open up the gate for us and let us leave this citadel area and go into the sort of wasteland beyond the gates.
So is this like a central hub area sort of?
So this is the story. This is a level. This is the main level. So this is level 1 effectively.
Okay, level 1.
And then there are 6 major size levels like this. This is one of the smaller ones. There are some later that are absolutely massive.
And as you said, it's more of an open world environment.
Exactly. So now I'm out of this area, I can go wander off here. So these silver X question marks, they're side quests.
Okay.
So some of these are available to me now. Some of them I can walk up and talk to the person, but I won't necessarily have the right item yet, so I won't be able to complete it.
So what's the benefit of doing these side quests?
You get given rewards, so you get given more masterpieces for 100% completion, but you also get given some items or some things we call relics. So relics are where you go to a shop, you open the relic, and that's how you unlock characters and creatures and vehicles and special items and things as well. So we're going to go here, we're going to have our first combat system. So we're going to come on over and we're going to have a good fight with these little alien invaders. From the younger sister. These are the things she drops into the game. And we're going to build up a combo, and we're going to unleash a build attack. And there we go, so if I hold this down now. So similar to Lego Movie 1, where they sort of pull all the elements together to make a really unique creation. Lucy can build a giant speaker, and it's like an AoE effect, AoE, so that it basically takes out every enemy on that. So all the main characters have a unique build attack. So Emmett's double-decker couch turns into a mech and he starts smashing the floor. So they've all got some pretty unique ones as well. We won't show all of them, but you can see that there's quite a few of them. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start to slowly introduce the idea of using some of these key builds to assist with one another. So I'm going to put down another bouncer here, and that's going to take me up higher to get to where I need to go to scan and start smashing up some more super good Lego. So let's just take some of this out.
How many playable characters are there in the game?
212.
Oh wow!
212 at the moment.
So, as you said, you shared some assets with the guys that made the movie. How far does the collaboration go? Is it just like sharing assets, or do they often ask you how are you guys progressing with the development? Do you need any help? How does that whole work?
So we've had direct contact with the filmmakers pretty much since day one, and they've been absolutely brilliant. They've been really helpful. So they've shared everything they have with us, from models to concept art, scripts. We've seen early versions of the movie, even when it was just drawn storyboards. They just did like a flick book style. They showed us all of that stuff. They've been amazingly helpful. We've also had Lego involved directly as well, who have been helpful as always, showing us the play sets they were going to make, such as the ship we're about to scan. So you can use the goggles to scan hidden objects. So this is the ship called the Formidable. That belongs to General Mayhem, who's the main sort of antagonist of our game. So we've seen what that character looks like really early in some of the ships and some of the designs and that. And that's how. And what they also showed was a lot of the stuff they weren't going to make for final play sets, which has helped us sort of sculpt and design models for these environments as well. So a lot of the vehicles that are in the movie, we've taken the Lego style model to help sort of pad out the amount of vehicles you can have later on, such as this one. So this is Unikitty's new form called Ultra Catty. She's a giant sort of saber-toothed cat at this point. So I'm just going to get some bricks from here, and we're going to build from this menu.
All right, there we go.
So there she is. Wow. So let's just get straight on with this. We'll move around. So yeah, she's a rideable creature. So part of the challenge we had to make is that we want every character in the game to be fully compatible with every sort of creature, vehicle, and everything like that. So she's been an interesting challenge because she's quite a unique sort of model, as you can see. She's massive and she runs really well.
And very bouncy.
Very bouncy. She's very quick as well. She's good at navigating all the terrain undulation, and she's fully combat enabled.
Did you also maybe get to meet the cast of the movie, of the voice actors like Chris Pratt or anyone?
No, we haven't had the chance this time around. So, because we got involved quite sort of, we were running quite heavily alongside the sort of animation process. We didn't get a chance to actually meet them. We were sort of waiting for them to finish their animation style before we started getting involved with the voice work.
I mean, since this game is basically coming out together with the movie, is that something tough when developing such a game? Because you have this deadline in the back of your head, and that's something that you probably really have to meet. You don't have much time for postponement or any time for postponement. Yeah,
I think it's one of those things where working with a movie can be quite difficult. We've obviously done it a lot. We do it all, we've done it since very early days of sort of TT and Lego collaborations. So I've just unlocked another thing here, which is a generator, so that helps you power up things as well. So that's just an early introduction. But it's quite challenging because obviously there's a deadline you must meet. And that can be quite scary when you know that there's something coming up. I think animated movies are actually sometimes worse for that as well, because obviously they can go under quite late changes up to the last point. And part of the reason that we're slightly behind the movie is we wanted to make sure that our end sequence was very, very similar and close to what the movie projects. So we've had to sort of wait a little while longer than we maybe normally would. Obviously, when it's a live action shoot as well, you can get daily shoots, so you can see what they're doing, you get a similar theme.
Doesn't really work with animation.
No, because obviously all you see stuff is like really laid out block form before they put the final layering, lighting and everything over it, so you sort of have to sort of use your imagination of where they're going. But like I said, they've been very, very open with us on how they're going to do certain scenes and where certain characters are going to feature. So it's been actually a lot easier than we thought it was going to be. But obviously it's still always stressful to work with a movie just because you know, like you say, there is a deadline here, we must reach it. Otherwise you miss this huge window of opportunity with it.
TT Games has been making Lego games for a very long time now. I mean, how do you keep your work fresh? How do you try to get new ideas so it doesn't, become just like a chore of churning out another Lego game? How do you try to keep the ideas and the franchise fresh?
So something we've probably been guilty of not doing enough is maybe sort of doing testing, focus testing, and also talking to players of the games. It's something we have done a lot more the last 4 or 5 years, and we are genuinely listening to people. So some of the things we have figured out is that over half of people playing our video games are playing in split screen co-op. Okay. So doesn't mean we're changing anything. It's kind of it's good for us to sort of know that we're doing the right thing by keeping the couch co-op in there. And then what we do is we talk to them and say, what's some of the favourite games you've played? Where are some of the areas that you enjoy the most? Yeah. And some of the areas that people tend to enjoy the most are the big open 3D environments. Yeah. So that information has kind of helped us say, well, okay, we've got this really nice sort of Lego Worlds technology. We would like to use it again for something. Everyone really likes these really open environments. The Lego Movie 2 has these wonderful environments that they're developing. It seems like a perfect storm for us to try make this a bit different to what we've done in the past. So things like so focus testing and user research and paying attention to what people are actually doing. We've put ourselves out there a lot more by talking to people a lot more directly as well, which has helped. So we are learning from that a lot more, which is really important for us to do. And I think you're starting to see it, particularly the last 3 or 4 years, with things like the Lego Incredibles, Lego DC Supervillains. There's a lot of learning gone into that and into this as well. So,
as you said, everything in this game is made out of Legos, which of course makes a lot of sense because that's the way it is in the Lego Movie. In other Lego games in the past that you've made, they also incorporated like real elements. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, so, are those real elements? Are they still part of your design philosophy for Lego games? Is this the exception with everything being made out of Lego, or is this the direction for future Lego games?
No, I wouldn't say it's a direction for all future Lego games. We are still open to sort of, again, mixing it up, keeping things fresh so that you don't see the same thing every time as well, like we mentioned. I wouldn't rule out that I wouldn't say we'd never do this again. We probably won't do it again for a short while, because we don't want to sort of just overload with this new idea. Because if you have a new idea and you use it too many times, it's no longer a new idea. So we are going to probably take our time with it. We just unlocked a new sprinkler system to put out fires. So let's build these now. But it is something we always are exploring. One of the things we always sort of say to ourselves is make sure there's enough Lego in there to justify it being a Lego game. Don't just make it about characters. And we generally do tend to get that just about right. But yeah, we're always asking that ourselves, like what can we do that's different? How can we visually change things? And visuals is again something that's quite important to us because you'll see it in another level later on. The vast difference in tone and contrast of this very brown, very barren wasteland to this asteroid field that we're going to go to later. And it's all very blue and green and it's unbelievably different. So visuals like that, and this is what I was talking about the co-op, by the way. So there's the really tiny little turret. So
wonderful.
Player 2 runs to that one. So we're going to shoot the ship down here. But yeah, no, we are always looking at sort of ways we can change the way it looks, the way it behaves, the way it plays. The menu system in this game is quite unique for us as well, because it's lots of unlockables, not just characters, but things like items and weapons. So we have to make sure that we get that just right. That's undergone a lot of testing, and we've pretty much nailed that now. Oh, let me just finish shooting Sweet Mayhem. And we're going to see a brand new character. So it's a new character type for the first time in a Lego console game, and that's the Lego mini doll. So the minifigure is the standard minifigure that you see, like Batman and Emmett and Lucy. The mini doll is the Lego Friends style character that they introduced a few years ago. And with the mini doll comes a unique set of challenges because the mini doll is taller than a minifigure. So they don't always fit into the same sort of vehicles or even in the creatures. So there she is, Sweet Mayhem. And they also have a couple of other unique sort of animation challenges because their feet are connected.
Oh, okay.
They don't have independently moving legs, and their wrists don't bend like a minifigure wrist can. So you have to animate them to suit that. And that means that when you make an item, you have to then sit and think, oh, is this compatible with both the minifigure arm? Is it compatible with the mini doll? Yeah. And the way that they move is that because their hip kind of connects here rather than being independent legs, they have to sort of hop along. It's really, you can see her hip joint is quite unique there. This is the Queen whatever. So she can morph into any shape she can imagine in herself. So that's what I was talking about when I was talking about the daughter. Yeah. Her imagination is quite vivid. She makes things out of bricks rather, and even the guards in the background and that. She uses like non-standard characters quite a lot, which is quite challenging.
And it's like what kids would do when they play. They make stuff out of Legos, just, you know, whatever they see in it.
Yeah, my 2-year-old plays with like big Duplo bricks and he makes all kinds of crazy shapes with it. He loves it.
Who hasn't made a gun out of Legos?
or just a giant stack of cars and you smash them together.
Exactly.
So yeah, we've had a lot of new challenges, which obviously with the constrained timelines, like I said, most people would sort of see that as a problem. For us, it's probably a blessing because it focuses us. Yeah. Because we've had games that we've had like years to make, like Lego City and Lego Worlds, and then some other stuff that we've made, where we've had like 4 or 5 years to make these games, and we've had no timeline, so we're always sort of like keep adding. Whereas like this, it's like you have these things to do by this time, so you're really focused. And in the end, this has turned out to be one of the best games I personally worked on because I think it's just come out really, really well.
Nice.
And we've stuck really true to the story, and we've managed to make a lot of sort of really cool gameplay challenges and designs, including what we're about to come and do next. So we had a conscious choice where we're going to decide on how we were going to do like boss characters. So what we've got is 3 really unique Titan-sized bosses in this game, and we're going to go and find the first one now. I've just unlocked a sticker gun, by the way, so I can start planting stickers all over the place, and you can unlock more stickers as you go along later.
And can you use it also in combat, this gun?
You can. So if you shoot an enemy, they become wrapped up and they can't move. They sort of stood like that for a while. So what we're going to go and do now is we're going to go and find one of the first bosses of the game. So this is the most simple of the 3 bosses, but it's a really good introduction into these huge, huge bosses that we're going to introduce.
Sort of like a tutorial.
Yeah, sort of.
You get used to it, you see how it works.
And it progressively gets more difficult as you're playing it, but then the next 2 are quite tough as well. Because that's another thing we've learned is that we have players saying they actually want to play more difficult games. I think younger players these days, because obviously everyone knows how to use tablets and phones and stuff, they're already quite tech savvy. So they're okay with a more challenging game. So things like more difficult bosses is something that we've looked to introduce for that reason alone. So let's climb back up here. So let's talk to this guy again. You can probably see it in the background already, actually. So this is kind of in the shape of a giraffe, this one. And then the other 2, we have one that's like a chameleon and one that's like a giant octopus. And when I say giant, I mean the whole level is built around this boss, basically. So
it's like
it's one of the biggest levels
sort
as well.
Of Shadow of the Colossus kind of deal?
Kind of, yeah. So that's sort of like you could say it's along them sort of similar themes where there's these absolutely massive Titan-sized bosses. So yeah, this is the giraffe that we have. It's the simplest of the 3. The chameleon is amazing. Because you have to really think about what you're doing, and then the swordtopus is really, really sort of parkour heavy and sort of timing and making sure you grab the right bar at the right time. So there you go. So there's the giraffe. So that's basically the size of that one. They're easily the biggest bosses we've ever made. All 3, and especially the octopus and the chameleon. They're giant in terms of their even from an interactability point of view, because you're not going to interact with the legs of the giraffe here. You're only going to do the torso and the head. But the chameleon and the octopus, it's everything you see you can interact and play a part of. So we're going to use what we've learned from the key builds from earlier. So the giraffe is trying to find a drink. So we're going to put the sprinkler down in this electrified pool, so we give it a little shock so that we can climb along its neck. So at the moment it's quite passive, it's not attacking me, it's just minding its own business.
Out and about, wants a drink.
There it is. And slam. So with that in mind, we're going to use the grab bar, and we're going to run along its neck, and we're going to go inside and try and take out this heart piece. So let's grab the bar, and we're along its neck. So we'll go right this time, and then we'll go left next time. So let's wait for that to come down.
Yeah, definitely getting some Shadow of the Colossus or almost Zelda vibes here.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that actually, yeah. So then we're going to go inside and we're going to play like a whack-a-mole kind of game. So you have to like beat the right mold to sort of take away some of its health. And in we go. So this is where we're going to play the whack-a-mole style. And the whack-a-mole style game exists for all three of them. Slightly varied, particularly for the octopus, but the idea remains that you're looking for these things to attack its like flower heart it's got. You can see it's looking in.
Is there any way you could fail this, or that you run out of time or something?
No, there's no failure. We tend not to have like direct failure in this. What we have is this is very easy, this first one, because it's just one thing popping up. In the second phase, you'll notice that there are blue ones, and if you hit one of those, you'll get shocked yourself, and then you miss a round effectively. So you have to just keep going and looking for the right one. It's obviously very upset with me now because I've just basically gone inside it and started smashing things. So it's now going to come after me, and it's going to start trying to hit me using its giant head. So I'm now going to have to try and run away.
You're going to have to find a way to get back in, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have to pull it over to the...
I'm going to try and get it to this water at some point in a moment. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get hit by that shockwave.
Of course that's planned.
Yeah. Oh, I'm getting really beaten up now. I think that's it. So it's dizzy now from headbutting so many times. So kind of using the same logic but in reverse, I've got a pool of water over here. So I'm going to use the generator to electrify that water, and it's not too smart, so it's going to try and drink from the same thing again. But we're using the idea.
Learn from your mistakes.
Exactly. So we're going to use the sort of reverse effect, and we're going to try and further in the game. You have to use all of these key builds together to sort of like solve several puzzles at once. So you have to use the thumper tool to destroy mounds of dirt that have things buried in them, and then you'll use like the water thing to grow a tree or a plant out of that dirt as well. So they start to combine later on. So it's really, really simple introduction, but later on it can get quite complex as people have to solve more complex puzzles that come with it.
So over the years your company has made so many Lego games. Is there one particular that you're very fond of, or do you have like a favorite Lego game that you like the most so far?
I'm quite biased to ones I've worked on. So I'm going to say all of those ones, particularly Lego Star Wars 3, because it was the first video game I ever worked on as a QA tester.
That's got to be like a big...
It's very close to my heart, that one.
Big emotional memory.
Very, very, very close to my heart, that one. And then I'm very fond of Lego Worlds because I worked on it for nearly 5 years. So I'm pretty close to that. I've really enjoyed this as well. I have to say it's one of those, because we didn't have a lot of time to make it, and I was worried it was going to be quite stressful. But actually, I've really enjoyed some of the stuff that's gone into this. I think the design team have done really well with some of the levels that they've had more opportunity to be creatively free with. The music from the soundtrack's brilliant. There's a song in one of the levels later on called Harmony Town. The song's called A Catchy Song, and one of the lyrics is, "This song will get stuck inside your head," and it absolutely does. So yeah, it really does get. Oh, I fell off. Missed the jump I was looking for there. I'm gonna get hit. Just made that one. So it really does get stuck in your head, and the soundtrack is fantastic. So they've done really, really good job of that.
How many people have worked on this game?
Close to 100. I
Okay.
think over 100 actually. Yeah. So yeah, we've had quite a lot of sort of different design artists get involved. Whereas before with Lego Worlds, it was all like computer generated terrain. We didn't need like 2D artists and level artists, because we've just laid it over the top of an existing sculpture. We've actually used level artists and designers this time. So this guy's really upset now, and he's using his head like a giant battering ram, and he's going to try and smash me off the highway. So I'm going to try and electrify that water one more time. So let's get over here, see if I can beat him before he comes round again.
Oh yeah, hurry.
So as soon as he puts his head down and slides across, he's going to get shocked with that. So we've had 100 to, I think it's about 100 to 120 people, more or less, if you include all the QA teams and all the sort of various departments that are involved. And we've made it in just under sort of 8 months, more or less as well. So we've really sort of had the short timelines, but we've accomplished an awful lot in that time as well. We're very proud of it.
Of course, since this is a Lego game, how big is the involvement from Lego as a company? Do you, all the designs, do you have to coordinate that with Lego itself? Do they have someone standing by looking over your shoulders?
Yes.
How do I have to imagine that? Or are you pretty much free to do what you want to do with just the basic rule that everything needs to be able to be built in real life Lego?
Yeah, so we have quite a few rules that we have to sort of stick to. We have a lot of guidelines on that. We have people who help us sort of make sure that they keep an eye on us in the sense of making sure that we stick to those guidelines and rules. Oh, fell off.
Oh no!
Always fall off on that one. Yeah, so we've always got someone who's sort of helping us as well, and we do work very closely with the product team, so the people that make the toys as well. We work very closely with them. In fact, they've helped us design all of these bosses with them. So we wanted to see, like, how would you guys make this?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to go around the other side because I think I've missed the gap.
Ah, there you go.
Oh, just, here we go. Yes, so we work really closely with those guys to sort of see how would you guys design this on this scale, and they've helped us sort of go, well, we wouldn't do this, but we would do this, or we wouldn't make this, and we'd make it this way. And they've helped us use like the right choice of elements. So even things like the octopus arm has these like flex joints that they've shown us how they would use those appropriately. So there's a lot of that. Obviously, they want to make sure it's appropriate for the age groups, because obviously that's a big part of what they do is making sure things are family friendly.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, in terms of design, they do give us mostly complete freedom to go and make things that we want to tell the story in a way that we want to tell it as well.
Yeah.
And we've collaborated as a three between ourselves and the filmmaking team at Animal Logic, and we've managed to deliver a complete retelling of the story in a way that we perceive a TT game to be. And they've been, they've been really good. Like I said, they've shared everything with us that they could possibly imagine.
And probably one of the benefits of working with Lego is you can always ask for samples, because you need to see if that works in real life as well.
Yeah, we're just not sure what it looks like. Can you send us one, please? Yeah. So we've had a few of those.
But why do you need the Star Wars Lego stuff? Well, we just, we want to see what's possible.
There's a new element piece in there that we're just not sure about. So I've beaten the giraffe. It's being sucked up from the ship that plants all the child's stuff at the end of Lego Movie 1. So it's like an ongoing theme that ship sort of takes away all these big creatures. So I'm done with this level. I'm just going to take that last brick. So I need to collect 2 more bricks, and then I can leave this area, because you can see in the top left-hand corner I need 12.
Okay.
Luckily, I know where 2 are.
So basically, that's how the progression system works. You need to collect in each area the certain amount of bricks before you can progress to the next one?
Yeah, there's a certain area you need to progress the story.
Okay.
But each area has also got like loads of free play ones. So once I get the 12, that number of 12 will turn into 50, because there's 50. There's 50 in this world that I can get. I'll just let go of that.
Okay.
But to get through to this gate, I need 12. So I'm going to go and get that last one over there that I know exists over there. And then we'll go through to the next area, which is the sandbox for the game. It's called Syspocalypse.
Okay.
So we're in the Sistar system, is the name of the galaxy that the sisters sort of toy range lives. And obviously we're in Apocalypseburg, and it's kind of it's an early introduction. This is where we have deviated from the story slightly. Okay. We introduce this quite early as like a sandbox to keep coming back to and placing all the things you've unlocked. You don't actually see that until the very end credits of the movie, but you see it in its more complete form in the movie. We show you it where it's completely blank and you're given a blank slate to build stuff. Okay. So these are the relics, by the way, that I was mentioning earlier. So they're going to allow me to unlock some characters and items in the Syspocalypse area. So let's feed these master bricks, and then we'll dive into the new world. And you're going to see the portal. If anyone's played Lego Movie 1, this portal will be familiar. It's like a way that you can traverse between all the different worlds. There we go. And there we go. So yeah, you can see it's now changed to 50. So that means there's 38 more you could go and collect. You can't get them straight away.
If you're somebody who likes to collect stuff.
Yeah. You wouldn't be able to get all those 38 right now anyway. You'd have to come back later when you've unlocked all the items and characters and stuff. So this is our galaxy map. So this is just a quick completion screen to show you what you've collected. So let's just skip on through. So there's my new planet. So this is the galaxy map. So there's 3 tiers to it. So we've got the Sistar system, which is the main story system. The Explorer system, which is a collection of smaller worlds that are Lego Movie 1 and Lego Movie 2 planets that maybe we didn't want to make a full level out of. So from Lego Movie 1, we've got classic Bricksburg, so the first Bricksburg in like a very small diorama. We have the Old West, which is a really cool level. And we also have Middle Zealand in there as well, which is really fun. And then from Lego Movie 2, we've got like a Unikitty planet. We've got a Unikitty planet, and we've also got a planet made of solid gold, as well as a planet, it's called Planet Sparkles, which is a spa. And all of the sort of hosts on there, they're all mini doll vampires. They're kind of like Twilight style, twinkly, sparkly vampires. So it was quite a clever play on words. I thought it was very clever. And then the third layer we have is this Edge of the Galaxy. That's going to be free DLC that we're going to put out after the game's release. So it's 3 worlds, completely free. Not going to tell you what they are just yet, because we are just sort of finalising final details on a few bits and pieces. But it involves some of the new characters as like main focus, so you get to learn a bit more about their backstories. So we're going to go to Syspocalypse. And this acts like the game sandbox, so you're given a second building page here. It's called the Super Builder. This is where you're allowed to place like giant buildings down, so you can really turn this planet into something you want it to be. There's no major story focus here. There's a few quests you have to do just to progress the story, just to sort of introduce you to the tools. But you can come back here and leave and do whatever you want to do as freely as you'd like to.
So do I have to imagine this basically I can build anything there?
We allow you to unlock buildings. So in blue relics you get buildings, and this is where you place them down and you can sort of build around it and make this world like really unique to yourself. You can place characters down, vehicles. And
so basically this is more of a central hub?
Yes, this is probably more like the central hub of the game if you wanted it that way. So quite a different sort of looking environment. Even this is built off of a movie file, because this is like that two-tiered sort of island that it has with a waterfall. Because we saw this quite late and we said, oh, can we borrow that? And they're like, yep, here you go. So this is again using files that we've been sort of sharing between the three of us. So we're just going to run on through. We're going to quickly skip through some of this just to get straight through to the relic system, and we can unlock a few characters, see what we get. And we can have a look at a mini doll animating in this world as well, because we get our first mini doll here.
How big is this area?
If I stand on the area, so it goes all the way to that wall and down there. So the wall, it's quite small. It's probably the same size as an Explorer world would be. So let's head on over. Let's go see Tempo, who is, so as I was mentioning earlier, if you see the mini doll is ever so slightly taller. So that's one of the challenges we've had to sort of accommodate these vehicles that get left feet in there. He's also got really big feet compared to a mini doll as well, so you have to sort of account for that as well. So lots of challenges, but it's been fun to sort of solve that. And obviously it means now that we have solved it, in the future if we want to use the mini doll, we've got that available to us now as well. So one of the executives on the movie is also one of the sort of very senior management at Lego, and he was very keen to make sure that the mini doll was included in the movie, and they sort of introduced them together because they've never really featured together before. And he was very keen to see that happen. So once he told us that was happening, he told us, hey, we really want you to do that as well. And you know, so we've stuck to that. There we go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to build our first building down. So that's the Super Builder page. And that's the shop. So he is the shopkeeper in every level. So what we're going to do now is we're going to scroll through to our Super Builder page. And let's just plant that down.
And what's the benefit of building this house?
So in this particular case, we're just introducing the shop mechanic. But further on down the line, you'll be able to build this entire area to make it a world you want it to be. So it's just a free choice area. It's just a little bit of extra fun.
Yeah. You can make it your own space and...
Yeah, exactly. So he's just given me what we call a mega relic. So in the game we have purple, green and blue relics for items, characters and construction models, so houses and stuff. Mega relics give you one or two of each of those items depending how lucky you are.
So if you say that I can make this place basically my own, I can build it or build buildings the way I want to, is there any way to share your design with your friends or invite your friends to see what your play space looks like? No, we don't tend to have an online capability in that one. We're quite strict on things like child safety across the internet and stuff, so we haven't included that in this time around. So we're going to just go and learn how to buy some stuff. So now we're going to use studs for the first time, and this is going to be how you sort of buy particular models in the game as well. So I'm just buying that because we need that to get away. If I close this down and then we'll go back into it, you can see some other stuff in there as well. So there we go, so by Theo in German. So let's just go back in. So yeah, using the studs, you can in this particular world, you can buy like letters. So you can build like a sign, so you can put your name at the back, or call it your own name town. There's always a Hollywood sign.
Yeah, basically, like the Bricksburg sign is another one. Sign. So you can also buy always a masterpiece, and every shop in every level has unique items to that shop that are relevant to quests within that level as well. So some of them have, for example, the asteroid field has loads of stuff related to the quests that are based around that as well. You can also redeem more relics in the shop as well. So let's do these ones, see what we get. You can get some pretty fun stuff out of this. So there we go, sword.
Awesome.
Oh, nice. So there we go. So we've got a projectile pistol as well. And a flashlight, that's good. Let's go to a character, so unlock our characters. See what we get out of the characters one. You can get some pretty cool characters out of this. There we go, Fabian. And let's see if we get a mini doll. That'll be lucky. Tip. So those guys I think are from Harmony Town, so they're from a later level. But I've just unlocked him, so let's play as him so I can show you the animation. So here's what I was saying about the hip being unique, so they have to move their legs independently, so they just kind of hop along like this.
That looks fun.
Very happy character. And as we, like I said before, everything needs to be compatible.
Yeah.
So if I go into the vehicles list and we unlocked Emmett's tricycle, so let's jump in that.
Yeah.
Completely compatible mini dolls, minifigures, so we can ride around as this as well. One of Emmett's more unique creations that he comes up with during the movie. So we're going to talk to Gale here. We're going to place down a ship and we're going to fly off to the asteroid field.
Okay.
And
so basically this is, as we were playing it now, it's part of the story, and this is basically where you can build your own space, but now we have to build some basic stuff to learn new mechanics before we progress
to the rest of the story. Exactly, yeah. So we continue the story now as true to the movie. We've just introduced this little area to say you can come back here if you want to, play around, use it just for fun, but hey, if you want to continue the story, let's go and do that as well. So we're going to hop in here and we're going to head on to the asteroid field. Now the asteroid field is again something we've done to further expand upon something that's maybe quite short in the movie. You don't really see much of the asteroid field in the movie. It's a 2-minute sequence. You're
taking some liberties here?
Yeah, we're taking a few liberties. So we saw the environment and we saw the visuals they gave for us. We're like, this looks really nice. Would you mind if we expanded it out? So we worked with them quite closely and said, hey, if we were to make this into a level, would this flow be appropriate? And if we change these things, would it be okay? And then we sort of back and forth with all the script writers and everything, and we've come up to this really, really nice level. It's absolutely gorgeous level, and the music in it from our internal composer is really calming. It's one of the nicest levels to just sit there and leave it running in the background because it's got this really nice song playing in the background. So it's just, it's a really nice environment, and it's a way that we introduce the next major character, Rex, and some of the abilities he's got as well. And it's really good fun to sort of just jump around and see this really expansive level. So we're just going to.
So this game is also coming out for the Nintendo Switch.
It is.
What are the differences between the consoles when it comes to resolution, maybe, and also how does it differ on the Switch? You know, when it's in dock mode and when it's in handheld mode.
So, in performance point of view, docked and undocked on Switch doesn't really make a difference. What it does, it just slightly expands the draw distances, and some of the sort of resolution does sort of slightly upscale. Nothing major, but it does do that. And the differences between Xbox and PlayStation and Switch in terms of gameplay and what you visually see, absolutely nothing. Obviously, we sort of use the extra power of the Xbox One X and the PlayStation Pro. But generally speaking, we try to keep them all very, very strictly sort of like high frame rate, good fidelity where we can, and just use the extra power rather than scaling anything back. So we're just going to use these to grow these plants, water the plants on the asteroid, and they'll grow and we can climb up. But yeah, generally speaking, we've tried to keep everything very, very similar. There's no like unique control functions or anything like that. We keep it all very powerable.
Oh, wonderful design of the plants.
Very, very alien in nature. And then using what we've learned earlier about how to scan invisible items, we'll use the goggles.
So how many different items can you use in the game? Because we've seen the goggles, we've seen the water, we've seen the generator. Does it grow with each area that you reach?
Yeah, so in this area, much further into the level, we won't have enough time to go through to the rest of the level. We're just going to show you this like traversing area and how gorgeous it looks when we get quite high up. You unlock these things called Rex fists. So they're fists that smash giant mounds of Lego for you and stuff.
Like Hulk hand shoes?
Kind of, yeah. Like the toy they made the Hulk hands. Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, we've kind of taken that idea in you. So yeah, here you go. You can see this level's quite unique now. So there's lots of little open expanses and moving asteroid stuff. There's that. We have things like Unikitty's wand, where she can paint things in unique colours. There's all sorts of stuff to play with later on. And obviously you've also got lots of weapons and sort of cool items as well, like guns and swords and eggs. You can throw eggs at people as well. So there's loads you can do. So if I just have a quick scan around, you can see this is quite a very large world.
And there's some
environment.
side quests in the
lots of side quests, lots and lots of side quests, lots of free play sort of style races and challenges to undertake. We'll just hop across here.
As you just mentioned races, so from what we've seen so far is, we doing jump and run stuff, we rode Ultra Catty. Are there other sequences in the game where there are races where I'm riding around in a car, in a Lego car, and I have to beat other racers?
It's mostly beat the clock. What we go for. Obviously, if you're in co-op, then you can race your friends, or your sibling, whoever you're playing with. But yeah, so there are lots of sort of side quests. So particularly in the apocalypse world we were in a moment ago, you start on top of like a fallen building. You have to race around the entire environment and get back in time. So there's lots of those ones in that. In this one as well, there's like an on-foot challenge. You have to sort of like use the bounce pads to get up high. So there's that sort of stuff as well. It kind of teaches you to free play. This is a different kind of enemy as well, actually. So this guy's quite cool. you have to smash him.
Yeah.
So punching him doesn't really do anything. Like, it doesn't really hurt him. You have to do a ground slam to make him flip upside down. And then you have to ground slam the bullseye. That's it, his weak spot there. So there's a few of those weak spot type characters around. But there's loads of those sort of unique challenges, and the bounce pad kind of, their races kind of teach you almost how to speed run. If you ever come back to the level and play again, there's like loads of shortcutting you could probably do with those bounce pads. I think we're going to probably see some pretty unique videos with those bounce pads and how to sort of cycle around levels really quickly. So I think it could be a bit of a speedrunner's dream to sort of see what you could do with those pads to get out of the level pretty quickly. So there we go.
All right, Chris.
So there we go. So this is the asteroid field.
So we've seen a bunch of the new Lego Movie, Lego Movie 2 game.
Yes.
We've seen basically 3 levels. We've seen the very first of Bricksburg, when it's all basically Mad Max style.
Yeah.
Then we saw the player area, which is more of a free roam area where you can build. And we saw the asteroid field. Ja, liebe Leute, da habt ihr Lego Movie 2, das Videospiel, gesehen. Der Film ist ja jetzt bereits draußen, ne? Wird, denke ich mal, wieder ein Erfolg an der Kinokasse werden. Der erste war auf jeden Fall sehr, sehr gut. Ich werde mir den zweiten auch reinziehen. Auf das Spiel müsst ihr euch noch ein bisschen gedulden. Ende Februar ist es soweit. Ich glaube, am 28. Februar. Dann kommt es raus. Bin gespannt, wie das Ganze wird und was uns für Welten dort noch erwarten werden und welche verrückten Ideen die Entwickler sich haben einfallen lassen.